morning, students. Our subject is Water Resources Engineering 1. We are in Unit 5. Present, our topic is aquifer parameters. So, what are the aquifer parameters? What is the use of this, and how can we estimate? These all things we discussed in this chapter. So, guys, so what aquifer parameters mean? Parameters means it's nothing but the porosity, specific yield, permeability, transmissivity, and the storage coefficient. Types of storage coefficient are called the aquifer parameters, and types of wells and the Darcy's laws included in this chapter. So, guys, in this aquifer parameters, we studied from basic points. We started from the basic point. Here, the groundwater occurrence. Uh, right. Okay. Groundwater occurrence, types of aquifers, aquifer parameters, Darcy's law, measurement of coefficient of permeability of soil, types of wells, well construction, and well development. So, guys, here again I started from I want to give you the input. Groundwater is water that exists in the pore spaces and the fractures in rocks and sediments beneath the unsaturated zone of soil, which can flow freely into a well, tunnel, springs, etc. Groundwater occurrence mainly depends on porosity, saturated and unsaturated zones, permeability of soil, aquifer, and storage coefficient. The types of geological formations, there are basically four types of geological formations: aquifers, aquitard, aquiclude, and aquifers. So, an aquifer. So, what is a aquifer? An aquifer is a groundwater reservoir composed of geologic units that are saturated with water and sufficiently permeable to yield water in a usable quantity to wells and springs. Sand and gravel deposits, sandstone, limestone, and fractured crystalline rocks are examples of geological units that form aquifers. Aquifers provide two important functions: to transmit groundwater from areas of recharge to areas of discharge, to provide a storage medium for usable quantities of groundwater. The amount of water a material can hold depends upon its porosity. Types of aquifers: unconfined aquifer and confined aquifer. Unconfined aquifer means an unconfined aquifer is one in which a water table varies in undulating from and in slope, depending on areas of recharge and discharge and permeability. Contour maps and the profiles of the water table can be prepared from elevations of water in wells that tap the aquifer to determine the quantities of water available and their distribution and movement. Guys, in this figure, confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer, there's a water table and unsaturated zone and water table. Transpiration by vegetation, this is also the stream. So, confined aquifer. Confined aquifers, also known as artesian or pressure aquifers, occur where groundwater is confined under pressure greater than atmospheric by overlying relatively impermeable strata. Water enters a confined aquifer in an area where the confining bed rises to the surface. Water may also enter by leakage through a confining bed. Confined aquifers display only small changes in storage and serve primarily as conduits for conveying water from recharge areas to locations of natural or artificial discharge. Types of aqua and aquitort. An aquitort is a partly permeable geologic formation. It transmits water at such a slow rate that the yield is insufficient. Pumping by wells is not possible. For example, sand lands in a clay formation will form an aquitort, also known as a leaky confining layer. Aquiclude, impermeable layer of soil that may absorb water slowly but does not transmit it. A body of a relatively impermeable rock that is capable of absorbing water slowly but does not transmit it rapidly enough to supply a well or spring. Aquifers. An aquifers is a geologic formation which does not have interconnected pores. It is neither porous nor permeable. Thus, it can neither store water nor transmit it. Examples of aquifers are rocks like basalt, granite, etc. without fissures. Guys, here an artesian well is simply a well that does not require a pump to bring water to the surface. This occurs when there is enough pressure in the aquifer. The pressure forces the water to the surface without any sort of assistance. So, guys, in this figure, from we studied from the bottom, guys, you observe my cursor. This is the bedrock and this is the one of the aquifer, this is the recharge area and this is the flow, and the porosity permeability is high in this low, and clay, here clay acted as a barrier, so and again above the clay bed and below the clay bed two aquifers available. So when bedrock is impermeable, clay also impermeable. So when water flows between two impermeable beds, so that aquifer is called like confined aquifer. And when unconfined aquifer means one aquifer available at atmospheric pressure is called unconfined aquifer. Here, the artesian well, where so in this well we need not to dipping the engine to bring the water to the surface. So this is called the river, this is the lake, this is the water table, this is unconfined aquifer, this is the confined aquifer, here clay, this is the bedrock. This is the three-dimensional view of the aquifer. So guys, here also the average height of water table, and here the surface, bedrock, aquiclude, aquifer, aquiclude, and So this is also unconfined aquifer. This indicates the unconfined aquifer because bedrock is also impermeable, aquiclude also impermeable. Here also aquiclude also impermeable, but this is the area which is supply water to the aquifer. So guys, here also the bedrock on the lower confining bed, confined artesian aquifer. Here recharge area for artesian aquifer. Here is artesian well and a recharge area for confined aquifer, upper confining bed and unconfined or water table aquifer. Here flowing artesian well. So guys, I will explain this figure clearly. First, we started here. This is the rainfall. This is the rainfall. Rainfall. This is the topography. I mean, surface of the earth. So, surface of the earth, when receiving the rainfall, automatically infiltration is takes place. Here, from the figure one. So, the infiltration reaches to the unconfined water table. Here, the rainfall reaches to the confined aquifer table. When we are drilled in the unconfined aquifer, so this is called the artesian well and the flowing artesian well. So, but here this is the unconfined water table. This is the lowering confining bed. So, guys, here also main water table. This is the aquiclude and successful well and a purchased water table. Thus is the spring. So, unsuccessful well. Purchased water table, in this purchased water table, water available but it does not a plenty, but if you want to take a plenty of water, definitely we go to into the main water table. So guys, here the same, here also the same. This is called the recharge area. This is water can rise to water table. This is the recharge area. This is the water table, non-artesian well. Here, guys, impermeable strata. This is the aquifer. This is the non-artesian well. This is called a this is the artesian well. Guys, here artesian springs and fault. So height of the water table in the recharge area, water can rise to this level under hydrostatic pressure. This is artesian well, impermeable stratum, non-artesian well, water table, recharge area, aquifer, and impermeable stratum. This is also, guys, here springs. When we okay, first aquifer, that is the water table, zone of saturation and limestone. So that is the impermeable bed on of shale, dry zone, impermeable bed of clay, purchased water table, zone of erosion, and sandstone. This is also one type of the figure to discriminate the groundwater. So guys, here aquifer parameters. So aquifer parameters, porosity, specific yield, specific retention, coefficient of permeability, transmissibility, specific storage, and storage coefficient. Here, guys, permeable rocks and impermeable rocks. Here, permeability and porosity. Here, guys, from the impermeable 1 mm, the water is there, that is the block, but impermeable blocks in A. From but the B, we absorb easily water moves from one space to another space. That is called the permeable. If water locked in the internal grains, that is not a chance to the move outwards. That is called the impermeable. So guys, porosity. It is it is the to the amount of pore or open space between soil particles in sediments or sedimentary rocks. The porosity depends on grain size, the shape of the grains, the degree of sorting, and the degree of cementation. In rocks, the porosity depends upon the extent, spacing, and pattern of cracks and fractures. Well-rounded, coarse-grained sediments usually have higher porosity than fine-grained sediments because the grains don't fit together well. Here, guys, non-porous and non-permeable, porous, non-permeable, porous, and permeable. No pore spaces, unconnected pore spaces. Here, connected pore spaces. So specific yield. It is the ratio of the volume of water that drains from groundwater storage due to the attraction of gravity or by pumping from wells or to the total volume of the saturated aquifer. That is called the specific yield. Here, guys, the rapid drainage specific yield is the gravel, fine sand, a specific yield, moderate drainage, clay or solid rock, impermeable or specific yield, here slow or no drainage. So here, guys, specific yield is a very high in gravel, medium in the fine sand, some better in clay. So what is specific retention? It is the ratio of the volume of water that cannot be drained out to the total volume of the saturated aquifer. The specific retention increases with a decreasing grain size. Soil having low permeability may not easily drain out. For example, clay has a high porosity but low specific yield and its permeability is low. Coefficient of permeability. It is the case with which water can flow in a soil masses or rock. The coefficient of permeability K is equal to the discharge meters cube per second per unit area meter square of soil mass under unit hydraulic gradient. It is usually expressed as centimeters per second or meters per second or meters per a day. Examples. The coefficient of permeability is also called hydraulic conductivity. Transmissibility. It is the discharge rate at which water is transmitted through a unit width of an aquifer under a unit hydraulic gradient. It is usually expressed as meters cube per a day, meters or a meter square per second. Specific storage. It is the amount of water per unit volume of a saturated formation that is stored or expelled from storage. Storage coefficient. It is the volume of water released from storage or taken into storage per unit of aquifer storage area per unit change in head. The storage coefficient is a dimensionless as it is the ratio of the volume of water released from original unit volume. It ranges from 0.022 to 0.30 in unconfined aquifers. Permeability. Permeability is the measure of the soil's ability to permit water to flow through its pores or voids. Knowledge of the permeability properties of soil is necessary to estimating the quantity of underground seepage. Solving problems involving uh, pumping seepage water from construction excavation. Factors affecting permeability of soil, grain size, void ratio, composition, soil structure, degree of saturation, presence of entrapped air. So what is the grain size? Smaller the grain size, the smaller the voids and thus the lower the permeability. Void ratio increases in the porosity leads to an increase in permeability. Composition, the influence of soil composition on permeability is generally insignificant in the case of gravels, sands, and silts, unless mica and organic matter are present. Soil structure. Fine-grained soils with a flocculated structure have a higher coefficient of permeability than those with a dispersed structure. Dispersed structure. Degree of saturation. Higher the degree of saturation, higher is the permeability. Presence of entrapped air and other foreign matter reduces the permeability of a soil. Organic foreign matter may choke flow channels, thus decreasing the permeability. So, coefficient of permeability of soil. Here, measurement of coefficient of permeability of soil, laboratory test using Darcy's law, constant head permeability test suitable for coarse grained soils, falling or variable head permeability test suitable for fine grained soils, and field test, pumping out test, a pumping in test, indirect method, computation from the particle size, computation from the consolidation test. Darcy's law. Guys, Darcy's law is an equation that describes the flow of a fluid through a porous medium. The law was formulated by Henry Darcy in 1856 based on the results of experiments on the flow of water through beds of sand. For a laminar flow through saturated soil masses, the discharge per unit time is proportional to the hydraulic gradient. Assumptions made defining Darcy's law: the flow is laminar, that is, flow follows a definite path and does not cross the path of other particles. Water and soil are incompressible, that is, continuity equation is assumed to be valid. The soil is saturated. The flow is steady state, that is, flow conditions do not change with time. And hydraulic grade line. Here H is the head losses. Here Q and L and area. Q is equal to Ka by H by L, the porous medium. Darcy's law operates where K is equal to coefficient of permeability, I is equal to HL by L, that is equal to hydraulic gradient. The typical values of coefficient of permeability for various soils are as follows. Soil type coarse, coefficient of permeability 10 to the 10 power cube millimeters per second. And fine gravel, coarse and medium sand 10 power minus 2, 10 millimeters per second. Fine sand, loose silt 10 power minus 4 to 10 power minus 2. Dense silt, clayey silt, the coefficient of permeability is 10 power minus 5 to 10 power minus 4. Silty clay or clay, 10 power minus 8 to 10 power minus 5. So pumping out test. This is the second topic. The pumping to the assumptions also second topic. Types of wells. Types of water wells, guys. Diverse geological formations require different types of wells for tapping groundwater for irrigation and water supply. The choice of type of well for irrigation is influenced by the size of farm holdings and the relative preference given to private, cooperative, and public wells. There are two broad classes of wells: dug wells or open wells or tube wells. So guys, this is the dug well, rock lining. Here is called the rock lining. This is the concrete steel. This is the suction pipe. Here well cover. Here the pump, and here drainage channel. This is called the dug well or rock lining. Next is the dug well, but previous concrete lining. Coarse grained aquifer, previous concrete lining, and concrete lining, impervious formation. This is the dug wells. So dug well or open well. Open wells have been the major means of domestic water supply throughout the span of the recorded history of mankind. They are also used extensively in small-scale irrigation compared to tube wells. Open wells are shallow and usually used to tap water table aquifers. The large diameter is 3 to 4 inches. Curbing material is usually concrete cracks with loose joints. Water enters well through loose casing joints. Low well yield, highly highly vulnerable to contamination. The types of open wells are unlined wells, wells with previous lining, wells with impervious lining, duct cum bore wells. Tube wells. Guys, classification of based on entry of water screen wells. The screen permits water to enter the well from the saturated aquifer, prevents sediment from entering the well. And the strainer wells. It essentially consists of a perforated or slotted pipe with a wire mesh wrapped around the pipe with a smaller annular space between the two. Slotted pipe gravel pack wells. It uses a slotted pipe without being covered by any wire mesh. Cavity wells. It is the shallow tube well drilled in alluvial formation. A cavity type tube well draws water from bottom of the well and not from the sides. Tube wells. Classification based method of construction: drill wells. Constructed using rotatory, cable tool, jetting, hollow rod, and auger rigs. Casing material can be steel or PVC plastic. Most are greater than 15 meters deep. Driven well. Cannot be driven into bedrock. Well point driven into ground with a post driver. Tripod with a weight or sledgehammer common around lakes and high water table areas. Most are less than 10 meters deep and have a limited yield less than 7 GPM, more susceptible to contamination than drill wells. Jetted wells. Jetted wells are constructed by employing the erosive action of a stream of water to cut a hole inside which a well screen and rising pipe can be inserted after completion. This type of wells may only be constructed in places where subsoil formations are soft enough to allow the technique to work. This is the hand dug well. Here also Agar, here is the borehole. So guys, here 2 feet distance between valve bottom well. Here underground water, non-return valve, gravel, screen or filter 1 mm to 40 mm. Distance between both filter 2 inches. Poly pipe 32 mm or 25 mm. So well construction. A variety of methods are used to construct water wells depending on the geologic conditions and the intended use of the well. Types of well construction: extending casing down the borehole through the upper loose sediment or rocks, but leaving the bottom portion of the borehole uncased. This type of well construction is usually used in a hard, fractured rock or a partial casing. Extending casing down to borehole through sediment or rock and placing a well screen in the aquifer. This type of well construction is commonly used in unconsolidated sediment such as sand and gravel full casing. So the well construction. Typical well construction procedure, drilling operations, drilling methods vary widely and range from digging by hand to the use of very technical and expensive drilling rigs. The rig is set up over the prospective well location and drilling continues until the desired depth has been reached. Installing the casing and screen. Once the desired depth of the borehole has been reached, casing and screen will be installed. Casing can be made of different materials such as steel or plastic and comes in various diameters and lengths. Installing an artificial filter pad. For some well designs, it is necessary for an artificial filter pack to be placed around the screen. This operation takes place before grouting or sealing the well. The filter pack consists of graded sand or gravel which is placed around the well screen. The filter pack removes or filters unwanted fine particles from the formation that would otherwise find a way into the well. Grouting the well. Grouting a well involves filling the space between the casing and borehole wall with a slurry of cement or clay. This is done to seal the area between the casing and borehole wall to prevent downward leakage of contaminants from the surface. So guys, well development. Well development is a procedure intended to maximize the well yield. During the drilling operation, damage to the formation or aquifer occurs. This happens when the drill bit cuts through the rock or sediment, leaving behind small pieces of rock or sediment that may flood the well screen and reduce the yield of the well. Also, during the drilling operation, different fluids may be introduced to the borehole to remove cuttings and to prevent it from collapsing. There are two main reasons for well development: the repair damage done to the formation during drilling and to remove unwanted fluids so that the natural properties of the aquifer are restored, and change the physical properties, porosity and permeability of the aquifer near the borehole so that water will flow more freely into the well. The well development methods, uh, air development by surging and pumping. In air surging, air is injected into the well to lift the water to the surface. As it reaches the top of the casing, the air supply is shut off, allowing the aerated water column to fall, thus forcing water in and out of the screen. High velocity jetting. The jetting procedure consists of operating a horizontal water jet inside the screen, jetting with the air. The jetting procedure consists of operating a horizontal high velocity jetting. The jetting procedure consists of operating a horizontal water jet inside the screen so that shoots out through the screen openings. Jetting with air is an alternative to water jetting. Mechanical surging. Mechanical surging is another method of development which forces water to flow into and out of a screen by operating a plunger up and down in the casing. Overpumping. It is pumping at a higher rate than the well will be pumped when put into service. Backwashing. Reversing direction of flow through the screen openings that will agitate the sediment, remove the finer fraction, and then rearrange the remaining formation particles. Overpumping and backwashing are widely used. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your support.